Well, they're talking a big game, but they haven't actually settled on a date or a place or any of the practicalities like who might compete or how they might manage it. So I'm not sure this is ever going to come to fruition, but certainly the kinds of things that they're talking about do sound very dangerous if they were going to allow it to be a free-for-all.
Take us through what some of the suggestions are and where this idea has actually come from, because it's one thing to say you can take performance enhancing drugs, but where does it start? Where does it finish?
Well, that's the exact issue that I have with this whole proposition. As soon as you start to create rules and boundaries, then athletes are going to push the boundaries. But the reality is that this is not what the Enhanced Games are about. I don't believe that the founders of the Enhanced Games, Aaron D'Souza is an Australian based in London. I don't think his interest is actually in the Olympics or in making things better for athletes and making sure that there's pay parity across the different Olympic sports. I think that's a nonsense. What they're trying to do is sell pharmaceutical products to the mums and dads and the weekend warriors so that we can all indulge in this fantasy that we can live to 200 years old and go on and have our youth back. I think that's what it is. They're selling some kind of elixir of life and using the elite athletes to kind of push that message.
Yeah, so someone like James Magnussen, for example, who's reportedly been offered $1.5 million, what would he be asked to do? Take these sort of supplements and these enhancements to prove how much it has improved his performance?
Right. Well, James Magnussen is a retired Olympian, had a distinguished career. He's now in his 30s. Whenever this Games comes around, he'll probably be 35, 36 years old. Apparently, it's going to be interesting for the world to watch once he takes some of these magic potions and lotions to see whether or not he can break the 50-metre mark. Record that's been standing for 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's going to be possible, but you never know.
Yeah, indeed. In some instances, you see athletes that actually suffer when they take too many supplements, too many enhancement, too many sort of foreign substances that actually hurt their bodies in the long run.
Well, that's exactly why this is so dangerous. It's one thing for the Enhanced Games people to say that the athletes involved would be medically assessed and tested along the way. Of course, that's what happens with elite athletes now. So that's not really a different proposition, except to say that what the message is that's going out to the community is if you take a little bit of this magic pill and you take a whole lot more, you'll get to be even better. And I think that's an enormously dangerous message because we've seen that with steroids and other prohibited substances that people have died, and that's the reality. And I think that's what they have to look at hard in the face, is that young children and even adults who may be vulnerable or have some other reason for wanting to get these enhancements might take things that are really not good for their health, and they don't have that medical backup and support that the elite athletes currently do.
Yeah, and they could push the boundaries to go even further without that kind of supervision. Is that what Kieran Perkins is warning of, or do you think there could be deaths within those elite athletes as well?
I think it's both. The reality is that elite athletes who want to cheat now within the system aren't telling their doctors the truth. So what does the Enhanced Games think that is special about them that means that those athletes in that program will tell them the truth about what they're taking? Why wouldn't they take a little bit more on the side or add it with something or other else and have no idea about what that contraindication is going to do to their bodies now and in the long term? I'm wondering if the Enhanced Games people are going to be around in 10 years, 20 years to see what impact that this has on people in the future. That's the real worry for the medical profession, I think.
And the liability of a games like this could be problematic, even to get insurance.
Exactly. Who would be wanting to insure them? I don't know where they might hold an event like this. There was some suggestion in the media that they might go to one of the universities in the US. I can't imagine too many of those universities are going to want to be associated with something like this. It goes against all of their codes of conduct and the different values and ethics that they are proposing, where people are saying do the best that you can with the talents that you have. So it just seems like it's a big air bubble to me. I don't know that we'll ever see it get off the ground.
Yeah. You know, one of the issues that always makes this a little bit tantalising for some athletes is the fact, as you pointed out, that people believe that there are athletes that are continuing to get away with taking prohibited substances and achieving results that others can't if they don't. Does that remain a problem? Do we still have some way to go to making sure that our Olympics are clean?
Yes, of course. In elite sport, we've seen historically, and you referred to some of the dangers that we've seen in the past with the East German steroid program and so on, which really harmed athletes into the long term. And so there became a perception that there were people cheating. And in fact, at the time, there were people cheating. So is that still the case? I think we've certainly improved a lot so that things are a lot more transparent. Drug testing programs, education programs are at a much higher level than what we saw back in those times. So you would really think that people are making a deliberate choice whether they're getting involved in doping in countries where you can make a choice. But of course, not everybody has the luxury of living in an environment where their free will is their own, because we've seen that in examples in Russia and more recently in China and so on. So there's been some issues that the World Anti-Doping Agency and the International Olympic Committee continue to have to work through. But that doesn't mean we throw the baby out with the bathwater and throw the whole Olympic movement out. There is so much good to look forward to, and of course we have an Olympics just around the corner.
We do indeed. Thank you for sorting fact from fiction for us, Catherine. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.